Hey there, campers. This is Junior Camp Counselor Josh here, just doing a real quick piece of housekeeping before we roll this one for you. This is a episode where we're going to review the film Terminator, the original, and some glitches got into the recording software that we use and caused problems. Long story short, to fix it, caused it to get misaligned from the video and a little bit of odd stuff that's very listenable still. It's not that bad. Secondly, we're back. New episodes are recorded. They're banked. However, we're probably going to release them every other week to make it easier for us to keep up with and maybe do some longer games that take longer to cover and, require some more time to record. That's all.
Well, hey there, welcome to Camp Video Games. This is a podcast that covers video games and their multimedia adaptations, except today we're talking about multimedia and their video game adaptations. We're talking Terminator, the very first Terminator movie from 1984. I'm Junior Camp Counselor Sean, and with me is Junior Camp Counselor Josh.
Oh, hey there, campers. Just a reminder, if you meet someone, they look ragged, they look unhoused, and they tell you they're from the future and they want to fornicate with you to create the savior of the future. If it's the movies, that might be true. Perhaps you should fornicate with them. If it's real life, odds are that's assault. And you should just move on with your day.
If the quote-unquote future time traveler wants to have sex with you, just buy him a coffee.
Yeah.
Okay. Buy him a coffee. Buy some bus fare. Yeah. Don't let them raw dog you.
If all he has is a trench coat and a shotgun, just move on.
He stole the shotgun from the police. Josh, we're talking. This is the first time here at Camp Video Games that we're talking about a movie that is going to have video games based on it and not the other way around.
Yeah. So this is something
special.
Nearly 3 years we've been doing this. We're like, when are we going to do something that was the movie first and then a ton of video games?
And when's it going to be a James Cameron movie? For sure.
Yes, it's going to be a James Cameron. Unfortunately, Titanic, the video game, is pretty bad.
Oh, the side-scrolling fighter? Have you played it?
Is it real?
Yeah.
I was making a joke.
Not to show my age, but John Tron did a fun video about that.
Oh, my God.
It was called Titanic. I think it had a double T in the middle. And it was like a side-scrolling beat-em-up that takes place on the Titanic.
Is this a fan-made game?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay, I figured.
It was like a Chinese bootleg.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's we'll probably talk about this throughout this discussion. It's like James Cameron is the GOAT. There's no one like him in the history of human art production. Yeah. It's crazy. So like we just got to go back to square one with Terminator because it's. Well, I would say this more about Terminator 2 Judgment Day, but it is the most movie-ass movie anyone has ever made. Terminator 1, which is what we're talking about today, is a little different, and we'll talk about Terminator 2 in another episode. But it's like, there's just, no one has made the most, like, movie ever since Terminator 2.
It's like, I mean, comparing Terminator 1 with Terminator 2 is very similar to comparing Alien with Aliens, right? Where Ridley Scott did the first Alien, of course, but then James Cameron comes in, bumps it up to 2, and now we've got a plural. And I'm gonna go into it immediately.
And he's like, you didn't scream at the actors enough to get the best product you could.
So if Terminator was James Cameron's first movie about Terminator, I believe going with his Alien to Aliens, Terminator 2 should have been called Terminators.
Yeah,
because there's two Terminators.
Of them. Yeah, but again, that's another episode. I envision this series will be. We're talking about Terminator 1 today.
That's right.
The Terminator.
The Terminator.
Then we're gonna explore probably just a handful of games from the era of the film, which is basically the 5 to 10 years after the first Terminator came out, is when these games were being made.
I'm nodding my head.
Yes. And then we'll talk Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Oh, yes.
And then our final episode, the thing that made us go, we can finally talk about James Cameron movies, is that there's a new game, Terminator 2D...
No Fate.
No Fate. We have not played it yet. It just came out a couple weeks ago as we record this.
Looking real cute.
It looks very cute. It looks like it's potentially a great time. I've not looked at any review scores.
Same.
I'm gonna go in totally blind in a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah.
So that's just set up for what we're doing right now.
Right. So now we're treating ourselves to
Yeah.
1984's The Terminator.
Yes.
Back in the 1980s when filmmaking was so simple, and it wasn't about money, and it wasn't about hype, and it wasn't about shares for interest holders.
Mhm.
No, it's about time travel, causality loops, and raw dog and strangers, and the birth of the AI nightmare we all are now currently dealing with.
Right. Which one of my friends recently watched these first two movies. Actually, no, she said she's watching like all of them. She maybe has even seen 3 already.
All Terminators?
Yeah. And I was like, you don't need to watch 3. And she's like, I
Oh,
thought it
yes,
was
you
good.
do.
I was like, she's like, I thought it was good. I was like, but James Cameron didn't direct it, so it doesn't matter.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
I only care about films directed by James Cameron.
He's been giving his blessings to certain Terminators, and then has been kind of quiet about other.
Yeah. So
releases.
honestly, for me, my Terminator fandom ends at 2. I watched the first 2 a couple times throughout my life, and then I rewatched the first one this week. And I've never had any interest in 3, but I have a really funny story about 3 that will be a good lead into talking about this one. It came out when I was in college.
Yeah.
And I was I went to school for how to watch television and movies.
That's right. Very important role in society.
That's the degree I have. And the head of our department was our film professor. I don't even know if this was the film class, but like he came in after like weekend having seen it. It's this German guy. He's like, oh, Terminator 2, Terminator 3, it's terrible. It's so terrible. It's offensive. And he talks about like, it's so violent. There's this part where someone has their bones crushed and you hear the crunching sound and it's so visceral and horrible. And I was like, did you see the first 2?
Yeah, for real.
Like, what are you talking about, bro?
Also, it would be so much funnier if he was Austrian, so that he could more match our lead bad boy from the Terminator, Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, it's like,
I hate the Terminator. It's such a stupid movie.
Well, and the funny thing is, like, I'd kind of forgotten that memory until I rewatched the Terminator this week. And it is indeed more ultra violent, like horror slasher flick than I remembered. In a mostly very satisfying way. And I don't know. It's just like, oh, this is way more violent than I remember, especially given the amount of cultural influence it had on boys of our generation. Like, we were young, we weren't even alive when the first one came out, but like it was so pervasive in the culture that, like, you know, I'll be back was everybody said it all the time. Hasta la vista, baby, which is from the second one. And the thing that like popped out is he goes to the gun shop and he's asking for all these very specific weapons.
To Dick Miller.
Yeah, I don't know.
The great Dick Miller who plays the gun shop owner. But go on.
Yeah, and
Uzi 9mm.
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
45 long slide.
Uzi 9mm, and me and my friends would play guns.
Yeah,
which I was
yeah.
telling my wife about the other day. It's like, because one, she's like just enough younger than me that like
Nice.
there's something about that generational gap between like she's a early 90s baby and I'm a mid 80s baby, that like just the stuff that we would engage with that seemed quote unquote normal, that I think all maybe flipped its head with 9/11 is crazy. Like me, I was just like, yeah, me and my friends would just play guns and we just like pick up a gun and be like, this is my Uzi, whether we'd seen Terminator or not.
Yeah.
You know, like, and the game was you have a toy gun, you point it at your friend, you say bang, and if you think they were in the line of sight of your gun, they're frozen.
That's right.
And that's good guns. That's how you play guns.
And now if you play that at school, you will get expelled and sent to a work camp.
We weren't allowed to play it at school. We would play it in our friends' yards all the time, though. And like it was just so normal. And I just am blown away by how much like movies like this I don't know, like Rambo. What were some other like ultra violent films from like the 80s action era?
No aliens.
Yeah. Like how much like influence they
Oh, for
had
sure.
is
Rambo
fascinating.
Rambo is an interesting example because because that's a anti-Vietnam
Yeah.
like anti-police brutality film. Like Stallone used to be cool. But then they made an animated Rambo
Yeah,
cartoon
there were
series.
cartoon shows of all of these.
I don't know about Terminator.
I don't know, there might have been,
There
but
was I know that there was a uh like a pilot that was almost aired for an Aliens cartoon series because they made an action figure series that was based on the characters that would have been in the Aliens cartoon.
mhm.
But yeah, I mean they were making Terminator action figures marketed at 8-year-olds, and it would be like, wow, the Terminator can rip its eyeball out and show its metal arm to Miles
Exactly.
Dyson. And like, I mean, it was because Terminator 2, when we get to that was where they were like, we've got an IP that appeals to all like age groups. And I believe that was
Yeah.
1991 when Terminator 2 came out. 1984, the Terminator, this was like a weird sleeper hit because it was like super pervasive, like it infected pop culture, but it didn't like it. You didn't see a Terminator video game until Terminator 2 came out.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because again, there's all these uh things from it that infected the culture that like I'll be back, come with me if you want to
Come with me
live.
if you want to leave.
Which is like I don't I'm like, is that originally from this? It's just so like just part of the cultural zeitgeist
Yeah.
that like you forget that these things have
I
origins.
think we can also blame like the Simpsons for making these things because
Yes.
like Bart Simpson as like this like avatar for youth of America, like he would say things on prime time in The Simpsons referencing these adult kind of after dark types of movies, and then we're like, what's Bart Simpson talking about? And like it
Yeah.
just creates this like causality loop. It's just like sending Michael Bean back from the future to go
Yeah.
impregnate Sarah Connor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then these things create copies of copies of
Yes.
copies, and then the people who grew up watching that stuff are now making movies based on those copies of copies of copies, and now we have pure crap all the way down.
That's right.
I don't know. It's the goddamn Terminator. It's
What's Josh? What's the plot to the Terminator?
um, so two beings come from the future, 2027 or 29. I
Yes.
forget. Yes, it doesn't matter. The
Far
machines,
distant future of the 2020s.
the machines have taken over by the late 2020s. Humanity is struggling to survive. One person who comes back is a naked Arnold Schwarzenegger, who immediately, as soon as the film starts, you see him come back and he just starts plowing through and just murdering everything in sight, and then starts murdering everyone in the phone book. If anyone knows what a phone book is anymore, named Sarah Connor in order. The other person who comes back is Special Private something something Kyle Reese, who is a revolutionary survivor from the future. He has worked under a revolutionary leader named John Connor, and he very much admires this man. For some reason, John Connor gave Kyle Reese a picture of his mom that he took that he kept with him.
Yes, a picture that a little Mexican boy took of her.
Which is
At
now
the
we're
end of
jumping
the
to the
movie.
very end of the movie. But, like, okay, so these guys go back in time. The Terminator is trying to kill the Sarah Connor who gave birth to John Connor to end the human resistance before it starts. The Terminator is a cybernetic organism, which is just a machine with human skin for some reason, which I guess makes sense. It's easier for him to blend in as strange and Austrian as he behaves.
Yeah.
And it is mostly slasher flick throughout. And one of my like most interesting notes was that there is not a single conversation in this film about like what's going on or like who anybody is to anybody until I think like 22 minutes into the film.
Yeah.
It's all action. It is all just these two characters going towards their mission and destroying everything in sight.
I was trying to watch this movie with fresh eyes because this is a movie that I watched on repeat as a young person.
Uh-huh.
And when you watch it, it's not immediately clear that Kyle is going he's like that his mission is to save Sarah. And he's kind of presented as this red herring where
Yes.
it's just like you got two naked buff dudes who just like get zapped into LA. And you immediately know that the Terminator is a robot because of how he views the people around him.
Mhm.
You've got that great Terminator view that is
Now,
so important.
well, I want to ask a question about this before you continue because I thought, in my viewing, and I may be wrong, it seemed if you take out them flashing in at the beginning, they don't confirm he's a robot through that vision thing, I think, until it's spoken to like Sarah. Like,
Is
oh,
that
he's a
so?
robot from the future. Somebody correct me
Please
again
correct us
gently in the comments.
Yeah.
I thought I noticed that because I was like, this is fascinating that if you take out the first 2 minutes of the film,
Yeah.
it's just a slasher film like anything else.
And that's totally true. And this
Yeah.
was so informed by John Carpenter's Halloween that
Yes.
you could even say that it's a spiritual remake of it, just replacing Michael Myers with a robot from the future. Sarah Connor is Laurie Strode. Like Linda Hamilton is a great analog for Jamie Lee Curtis. Like
Yeah.
they both have such star power that it's like you're only rooting for them and you want them to live. Now, but let us know in the comments because I could have sworn that the Terminator, when he's talking to the punk rockers at the
Oh,
observatory,
maybe.
that you
I
see
don't remember for sure, but
like that like red thing that like
the analysis of what's in front of him.
yeah. But in any case, but you also see him punch through a guy's stomach,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, that's
not a normal man.
that's probably not a good guy. And whereas when we see Michael Bean's character Kyle Reese, when he comes back, he just steals pants from a homeless guy.
Yeah, he's all about stealing stuff. He's not punching through holes through bodies.
No, well, talk about Sarah's hymen maybe, but
Oh dear.
punching holes. Jeez, I'm sorry, but I don't know if she was a virgin at that point either, but it is confirmed that he was a virgin before they have sex.
Yeah. it's made abundantly clear.
Yes.
Like we spend a solid minute that's the most conversation is about the fact that Kyle is a virgin.
He's like, yeah, I'm celibate, but I didn't want to be. That's why I know guns so much.
But this thing about how like the first 22 minutes there's no conversation. There's a line or two here and there, but there's not like a back and forth dialogue of more than 3 lines until like 22 minutes in. I forget if it's between Sarah and her roommate or the police. But that's like the same point in the film.
Sure.
And it's key to I think the fact that the reason James Cameron on what I think was still kind of a shoestring budget at the time, $5-6 million.
Yeah.
Made this like insanely compelling movie is the pacing is relentless. Like there is never a moment in Terminator where I'm like, I'm gonna go make a snack.
No, you can't do that.
Like,
unless you don't care about what the like the criminal psychologist has to say. That's maybe the sandwich opportunity.
Yeah.
But that's also one of the more interesting set. Talking about this as a slasher film. Slasher film. What do you need to be a slasher? You need a guy stabbing a person, at least one person. In this case, it's a shooter film.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I mean, there's some knife violence in here, but this is really just a gun pornography slasher film. When you talk about slasher films, they're usually very psychosexual. They always have these like pent up aggression that could be manifested in violence, where it's like, oh, the knife is a penis. In this case, like the gun is the penis. Sure, blah blah blah.
Guns are always a penis.
Yes, fully loaded.
This is most of our problems in our society come down to the fact that guns are a replacement for a penis not being sat on.
Yes, I'm a big advocate for cum control. Now, but like, what guns do in terms of violence is they separate the aggressor from the victim.
Right.
Right. You're
We've
not up in
talked
their
about
face.
this, I think, on
Yeah.
this podcast.
It's important to reiterate is that like guns desensitize the killers. And in this case, this is a killer who very much like Michael Myers is in Halloween is a vacant. There's no reasoning with him. There's no negotiations, and you can't just like hope that they'll forget you. Like their only purpose is to kill this woman, and that's compelling in its own right because we've got a very very sympathetic and like incredibly interesting main character with Sarah Connor. This young woman who's got like just trying to get a break and who's just like having a tough time. And,
I feel like a lot more interesting in part 2.
Oh my god, we'll get there. We'll get there.
God, I love her in part 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, they give her something more than just surviving as a damsel in distress as the movie goes on, and you get the crumbs of why she's important in a way that a lot of other slasher films don't. It's just like, there's just going to be this one girl who survives, and it's impressive that this tiny, frail woman is the one who survives, and that's why you're compelled by it. Whereas this, you like, in learning, oh, she's the father of John Connor, and then as we get to the end, we see her like accepting her call to be the revolutionary whatever mother of the revolutionary leader. I don't know. Like, it's clear at the end of the film, she is like, I'm heeding this call to action.
Yes, I'll get on my donkey and ride to Bethlehem.
Yeah.
It's also like just from like a cultural standpoint, like science fiction really evolved around Isaac Asimov's rules of robotics. The primary
they done broke one in this world
is that robots can never harm human beings, right? And like that's the entire the robot is called a Terminator.
Yeah.
its chief like goal is to eliminate humanity, or at least to be able to kill the resistance so that the robots can then enslave the chattel. It's a really grim future that the Terminator paints, and it's also that future is what I think is the most intriguing part of it. Is just these little snapshots, and this is budget filmmaking at its best. If you're going to write a 1980s fantasy epic, start with a really, really high production value war in a foreign, interesting land,
but still very smoky and foggy. So that doesn't have to be a perfectly detailed set.
Yeah, you don't have to paint too far ahead, but then go to the real world. Think of like, like Masters of the Universe or like any other 80s movie where it's just like there's this wonderful world, and we'll get to that maybe once every 20 minutes for about 30 seconds. You get a little glimpse of it. And that's what brought people to be like, oh man, is that what the future's going to be like if we let these freaking robots take over? I don't want that to happen. Yeah, let's see what happens.
Just opening on a robot tank rolling over a pile of human skulls is enough to make me go, uh-oh, it seems bad in the future. Right? And like actually the thing you were talking about, like using this like detailed fantasy set sparingly is I was just thinking about this in regards to like anime, like in the last couple of days, how there was a stigma around anime when we were kids about like, oh my god, it's so cheap, like people do
sure
this is how we do anime dub, and like it just make fun of like the mouth barely moves.
Yeah, it's just a static image with a barely animated mouth,
and it's like
10 minutes.
I don't know where we got that impression from, but
Dragon
like
Ball Z.
It's because like people who were making those jokes were either disregarding or ignoring the fact that's like, no, you do that so that you can do these crazy elaborate shots of Goku and Vegeta punching each other through mountains and just these huge explosions.
Yeah. It's a balancing act.
Yeah. People didn't understand that, and they still kind of don't at times. But I was thinking about that a little bit recently. Anyways,
interestingly, James Cameron is not opposed to the use of AI in modern filmmaking. I heard a little blip from an interview that he gave.
Oh,
where and you would think the guy who made the Terminator,
my tickets to Avatar 3.
he says that he is no way wants AI to replace human jobs, but he wants it to be used as a tool. And I'm paraphrasing, of course, uh, from an unconfirmed source. Uh, he's in support of it being used as a tool to help filmmakers save time on the more arduous tasks that could be simplified with AI.
Now, okay, so I didn't find this quote. I did find James Cameron, thankfully, on record saying generative AI is horrifying. Okay, be still my heart.
He hates the learning computers.
So I actually have thought about this in like film and video production that um yes, it is so annoying that they go straight to let's do the creative tasks for you. Let's take the most human parts of production
Yes.
out of it so that all of your time is spent on the tedious things like the things I'm like AI should do this for me who's like a one man video production team where like so much of my time is spent on like file management and like digging around for like the clip that I know that I want or transcribing things, which like is mostly now covered by quote unquote AI. I don't know. But like there are a lot of just grunt tasks that slow down the creative process in video making that they at James Cameron's level, I'm fine with those. Those should be maybe somebody's full-time job making a decent amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
If AI replaces them and that person then gets bumped to a more creative position, I'm like, that's fine. But it would kill jobs at his level.
Of course. I think
Um,
what he's basically saying is like, oh, I love that this will save me money when I can make my next movie.
I don't know how much this man cares about money.
He keeps
Because-
printing it with every movie
Yeah,
he
no,
makes.
he knows that every time he makes another avatar that just shows up out of nowhere with no marketing, it's somehow gonna make $1 billion in profit. It blows my mind.
James Cameron is the reason that Arnold Schwarzenegger became the governor of California.
I thought about that a lot while watching this
And
movie.
the Terminator 1984 and then the Terminator 2 Judgment Day 1991.
Yeah.
The reasons that Arnold Schwarzenegger became the governor. The
Yes.
governor.
The governor.
It's just a part of. He's like, yeah, no, people really like that. I tried to kill Linda Hamilton, and that my
Yeah.
policies might be good too.
This is looped into something I've been wanting to bring up about this movie that I think I've danced around a little is like the normalization of violence. Like I'm starting to become a little bit of a guy that's like I think the media might have some responsibility for how violent our culture is.
Mhm.
Like and that's coming from a place of me fucking loving these movies,
Yeah.
you know? And like I've been mainlining violence into my like brain stem since I was 6 years old.
Yeah, and you're like the gentlest cutie pie in the world.
Yeah, but that's because I had a well-adjusted home life. And I'm like, I gotta admit, for the many, many, many Americans out there who are not well-adjusted, who do not have safe home lives, and have plenty of access to the cool guns they see, I'm like, I might be on the other side of this argument at this point.
You're on the Tipper Gore side.
Nah, that's the problem.
Because it's a very delicate line when you talk about what could end up being censorship for public safety reasons.
I don't think censorship is necessary, but like I think even James Cameron has like attuned himself to this somewhat in that like the violence is less glorified in the Avatar movies. It's like the people who have the like the machines of destruction, the guns, the warships, those are all the bad guys. Whereas in Terminator, it's like gunfire's going both ways, you know?
Yeah.
Like I maybe I'm giving him too much credit there because there's still like a lot of gunfights and whatever in Avatar. And I'm thinking about this like again, like 9/11 is such a fulcrum point culturally of like us like sort of escalating. Like, no, we need to be pro violence because we're gonna go do a lot of violence.
Sure.
But now, like, I'm raising a Gen Alpha child, and like she is so like disinclined to anything violent, like even just people hitting each other in movies, guns especially. And like, I don't know, I've been around like her friends enough that I'm like, they're not quite as sensitive as her, but like there is they've grown up on a much more sanitized media diet. Some of it is like they're just not watching movies in general. They're just watching YouTube roulette slop. But like it's fascinating. There's something changing. And like I feel like the pendulum's swinging a little too far. That like I think kids do need to be able to sit with like a story about uncomfortable violence that resolves like why violence is bad and horrifying, but like the way it was glorified for us as kids who were playing guns in the yard was maybe a little too far in the other direction. I don't know. I don't have all the right answers, but it's very much on my mind as I'm like watching a movie like this, and I'm like, I still love the Terminator. I still love its ultra violence, but I'm like, did was this too much? Is this you know like,
That makes me think about like how violence kind of invaded media, specifically starting with like the Vietnam War, when like there was
yeah,
like war like
we need to
wartime
normalize
battle, like
gun death because we're sending a lot of young men to it.
yeah, like war correspondents were just like sending back like actual footage of people like shooting each other, and that was like on the nightly news.
Hmm.
And now how these days, like I mean, with cell phones and with body cam footage, like that, it's like there's just no end to like real violence that's just like on YouTube or on TikTok or wherever the slop is entering your feed.
Yeah,
And that like now that we have like so much I'll say access to like real violence, that like perhaps like media knows that like, oh, like if people want to get that fixed, like we don't need to supply that. We can let like real life kind of stand in for that,
yeah.
and like make the money on the like like preying more on like addictive personalities, like the the you won't believe what she does at the end, or
Yeah.
like those types of
It's like
videos.
yes, there is sort of like I've heard a few people posit it lately, like especially in response to this new Netflix merger that
Mhm.
may or may not have gone through by the time we publish this, but like that idea that like movies might become like going to the opera, like the opportunity to go to the movie
For sure,
theater.
will be.
It'll be this like class-based thing. Like I mean, I took our kid and her friend to see the Wicked sequel a few weeks ago.
Probably a good turnout there.
Um, yeah, I mean, it was the middle of the afternoon, yada yada, and I was just sort of like curious for myself, that like, oh yeah, movies are all about like you got to see it in Dolby Cinema or IMAX or whatever, and I was like, I'll get the fancy Dolby Cinema tickets and see what it's about, because I've never watched a movie in Dolby Cinema, and like, it was pretty close to $100 with like one, $6 snack
Yeah.
per person. It's crazy how expensive it is to go to a movie already.
It seems like the reason that movie theaters were so popular, like, in the mid 20th century, it was just because they were air conditioned.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it's like that's why summer blockbusters are a thing.
Yeah,
It's 'cause
well, pay me 10 cents and you can sit in air conditioning for an hour and a half.
yes, literally, and,
Right.
like, it was more just
It doesn't
about
matter what's on the screen.
and it truly doesn't, and it these days, with the cost of tickets and because of the cultural shift, 'cause, you can have a movie equivalent experience at home with what, and you can drink beer that's not
Yeah.
$10 a bottle, and, like,
It's well, I don't know. I'm thinking about this back to like the Terminator, the movies that are being made now, the like endless Marvel films, and you talking about like the Vietnam War and seeing the violence, and like it feels like in modern times, the people who like sort of have a grip on like media and culture, they want to restrain that because we are like in a place of like as Americans, we are like, there's going to be imperial violence being conducted on your behalf all over the world.
Mhm.
Um, and we do not want you to see it. It was a mistake that we showed it to
Oh,
people.
yeah, because
Like,
the reception of the soldiers coming back from Vietnam,
yeah.
they're like, "You fucking baby killers!"
Yeah, and, like, just a couple weeks ago, like, Hillary Clinton said something like, "Oh, all these kids are being" like, she said, like, it's a problem that kids are being radicalized because they can see what we're doing in Palestine, and she was like, "This is a problem, like, that they can see that stuff. We need to figure out a way to stop them from seeing" not that we need to stop doing it, but we need to stop kids from seeing it because it's making them turn away from America.
How do you think the kids in Palestine feel?
So, like, the way that, like, shows up in movies now is the sanitized, Marvelified version of violence, which is, like, it's so cartoonified, and that's what I was saying about the pendulum, I think, is swung too far,
Mhm.
that, like, kids I think it's important for kids to have stories that help them reckon with the, like, discomforts and violence and scary things in the world in a safe space, in a safe way. Um, and I don't know if the first Terminator is the best example of that.
Terminator 2 is a pretty good
I think
example for
I
that.
haven't rewatched it, but I think that's probably a pretty good example. I don't know. It I just feel like there were more movies, and I always go to, like, Apocalypse Now,
Mhm.
is like anybody who watches that movie and comes out thinking war is cool is an absolute psychopath who should be locked away forever.
Yeah.
You know, like
No,
we
put a
don't
gun in their hand, send them out.
yeah, like we don't have blockbuster films with messages like that anymore. It's just like, Captain America saves the day again from the extra universal that second, third, fourth universe. And
Sure.
it's like, I don't know. We need the Terminator back, and I think Avatar is it. We need more James Cameron. Because I remember the second Avatar being amazing, but I haven't rewatched it since it came out.
I ain't watched a peep of them Avatars. Although I did buy the Avatar Wii video game, so
I'm gonna
maybe
make you
that'll
come over and watch all of them.
oh boy.
Just sitting here for 10 hours.
Dude, I did a Star Wars marathon when the, Force Awakens came out.
Mhm.
I went to my buddy Greg's house and watched
That's too many Star Wars.
1 through 6, and then we went and watched episodes and, like, I felt ill. Like, I've never sat down and watched TV for that long
Yeah. I've
before.
done that with Lord of the Rings.
It's like it's bad for you. It's, like,
Mhm.
bad for your soul.
Yeah.
Um, TV's bad. Movies are good, TV is bad.
Yes, actually, I kind of agree with that. Speaking of Star Wars, and like the generational sort of discomfort with like violence, like Star Wars: A New Hope. We watched it. Our kid was like, "I can't handle this,"
That's so cute.
and like she's 9, but like, and again, she's a little more sensitive than most, but I
Yeah.
don't think she's that much of an outlier. I mean, because Star Wars is such a ubiquitous property. Like, I'm sure most kids are fine with Star Wars, but, like, stuff that level, I think kids are probably, like, a little more squeamish to than they used to be.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess what you need to do is then, like, watch what because like, Disney, now that now owns Star Wars, Disney is still putting out, like, kid centric Star Wars stuff. I don't know what it is at this point. I remember back in our day, it
Oh
was like
god,
the
it's
Clone
nuts.
Wars, animated series
Yeah.
that the, Jendy Tartakovsky did, and that seemed to, like, really finely tune, like, what kids will, digest Star Wars-wise, what keeps their attention,
Yeah.
what doesn't, like, terrify them too much, um, but, yeah, I'd be interested to see how they're, like, doing that now because I know that they're still making Star Wars for, like, adult children as well, like The Mandalorian and
For adult children.
Andor and that
For
type of
people
stuff.
our age or
Yeah, they're
older.
like, "No, it's just like what's going on." I was like, "Yeah, no, don't worry about that." Like,
Yeah, it's just, like, it seems like that, like, culturally, movies, TV shows, they're moving more towards, they want to give you, like, fodder to discuss lore on the internet more than they wanna give you something to chew on about the nature of violence or in the Terminator, the nature of tech and like um weapon defense systems and like what our leaders are doing. Like they
Yeah.
just don't want you asking questions anymore. They want you going to the internet and arguing about lore.
No. Instead, we've got like, back in the 80s, we had like this is like a metaphor for like the legend of John Henry, about how like a man
Yeah.
can work himself to death to defeat the mechanized replacement for the workforce, and it still kills him.
Yeah.
And it's just like I don't know. It's the Terminator. Okay, let's talk about the Terminator. Like the Terminator.
I could do this all day.
I know, this is what you do for a living. I know. Okay. Sarah Connor is a waitress at what looks like a big boy.
Yeah, at the worst big boy on the planet.
Yes.
My
And
favorite part of the movie is when a kid just takes a big scoop of mashed potatoes and gravy.
it's ice cream.
Oh, that's I thought it was mashed potatoes and gravy, and just dumps it in her pocket.
Yeah. And then the other diner's like, maybe I'll give that kid a tip.
Yeah.
It's so brutal. And like
They're so mean.
everyone hates Sarah Connor. And so she's just like the everyman, right? Like she's just this person that
Working 9 to 5, you know?
and like anyone can relate to her. And does her roommate also work at the big boy? I know I'm the one that just said I've seen this movie 30 times.
I
can't
think so,
tell.
because don't they talk about like, oh, we're going out tonight on break? Or no, when the first Sarah Connor gets murdered, I
dead,
think they're
honey.
still at work. She goes, "You're dead, honey."
And she looks
I think that's her
exactly like
roommate.
Miley Cyrus.
I don't remember for sure, but I thought that was her
I
roommate.
can't tell
know,
the
it doesn't matter.
difference. I know that her roommate's name is Ginger. And okay, so Sarah, she's this kind of and like very much like Laurie Strode in Halloween. She's just this kind of like quiet, reserved, not she's not ostentatious. She's very much a conservative, like suburban, I guess LA kind of girl. That's just like, she goes to work.
With the
She
sickest motorcycle, though. I'd ride one
yeah.
of those.
No, that's not her roommate. That's not Ginger.
Yeah.
In any
I
case,
scroll through the footage just to check it. But yeah.
so we've got Sarah Connor, right? She's like the most human of humans, and it just keeps getting cut with these two time travelers, right? Where it's just like the Terminator. He kills Bill Paxton, and some other punk rocker, and steals the clothes. Whereas Kyle Reese, right? He comes back and he steals the clothes, and the police go on a manhunt for a guy all he did was steal a homeless guy's pants. And the police were like, all units, like,
Yeah.
we got a guy stealing pants out here. And
I couldn't help throughout the movie just thinking about how many moments happen where somebody is up against a wall of cops, and I'm like, if this was today, you would have 800 bullets in you.
Yes, 100%.
And instead, it's just a standoff where somehow the cops either wrangle them or they get away.
Well,
It happens 3 or 4
yeah,
times in the
like,
movie.
Kyle Reese is like, I mean, okay, Kyle Reese is an incredible action hero in a movie. Like he's a man out of time. This is like H.G. Wells meets like Rambo, I guess. It was just like this dude. He like comes back. He's vulnerable. He's covered in scars, and like the difference between the time travel shows, because the Terminator just gets up. It's just like he like stoic, like blank gaze, just like scanning everything. And then Kyle Reese, he's like he later in the movie explains
Austrian man buttocks.
Oh yeah. Well, and then we got some Michael Bean buttocks too.
Yeah.
But like later in the movie, he explains like the feeling of time travel as like being born. And like, so we've got the birth of the Antichrist and the birth of like Archangel Gabriel. And it shows just the different, like, they both came the same way, but they're both going about their day very, very differently.
Yeah.
But they're both looking for Sarah Connor in their own ways. Terminator just goes to a gun store. Dick Miller's like, "Oh, you want to buy some guns?" And he's like, "Yes." He's like, "You can't load that." And he's like, "Yes, I can." Boom.
Which is so like, again, that part does feel real.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Just like some guy be like, "Hey, you can't do that," and just a guy just starting mass shooting in a gun shop.
Yeah,
Probably doesn't happen more often.
Well, there's a reason when you go into a gun shop, everyone's wearing a gun on their hip,
Yeah.
and it's not to sell more guns.
Right.
Man, I would campers. I guess if you ever want to learn how to use a gun, don't go to a gun range. Like go to some trusted rural home and do it. Because if you go to a gun range, you're stuck in there with other people who might be using guns for the first time and possibly
That
their last time. If
it
you know what I mean.
always terrified me, like going to a gun
Yeah,
range.
no, it's just not a good idea.
That like everyone here just trusts that everyone else here is like one like gonna follow the rules because there are. It's sort of like a strict code of the range, of like I forget how exactly it works, but it's like you call like everybody arms down because we're all gonna go get our targets and start a new one,
Uh-huh.
and like just trusting that all these like freaks in this like middle of nowhere spot, like are
Yeah.
just gonna do that. It's like okay.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I'm never I never want to be around a group of people with guns.
it's terrifying.
Um, uh, could you ever buy guns this easily in LA too?
Oh, I
I
have no idea.
I don't know. I don't know about California gun laws, but I don't know if you could just go buy an Uzi in LA in 1984, a fully automatic Uzi. I doubt it. Just off the shelf. Anyway, so so the Terminator starts killing
Actually,
different.
doesn't the gun owner say something like you've got to wait
There's a
for this
waiting
one?
there's a waiting period on the handguns, which is I know that used to be it was called like a cool off law,
Yeah,
where it's basically just like you don't want to like go home, find out your wife's cheating on you, go buy a gun,
right.
and then go kill her and the guy and then yourself,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah.
You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. But if you can just go buy a rifle or a shotgun
Mhm.
because they're hard to hide. I guess that's the
Sure.
logic behind the laws. Going into like gun law, it's like it's so much. There's so much
We can
semantics.
it's dumb.
It is dumb, and I don't want to do it. I just want to have a gun so that I can protect myself from the Terminator.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I sleep with a gun in my mouth every night, just so I can kill the Terminator. Okay, so the Terminator starts going down the phone book and killing Sarah Connors because he doesn't know Sarah Connors' middle name,
Yeah.
which is Jane, I believe.
And a very good horrifying way to amplify like the danger of your villain.
Oh, just the
Because
random chaos of like it's just their name in the book.
they literally refer to it in the police station as like he's just systematically going
Yes.
through.
Press is gonna have a field day with this. They're gonna call him the phone book killer.
Yeah, but
Which would be a great slasher title for a movie. The
and
phone book killer.
the first home he goes to is just like this homely, allegedly 35-year-old woman. I was like, good God, I'm older than 35. Do I look like that? No
Yes.
offense to this woman.
It's okay. She's probably dead.
And like, he's just like, Sarah Connor. She's like, yes. And he just blasts her point blank.
Yeah.
And like, that is horrifying.
It's very scary.
Yeah. That is just telling the viewer this is a cruelty that cannot be reckoned with at all, which Kyle will explain like very verbose, like explicitly later on, but nobody believes him because he's like, I'm from the future.
Yeah, and it's a hard sell.
Yeah.
Wasn't there some guy on Reddit that was like convincing a lot of people that he was a time traveler from the future?
I don't remember.
Like, yeah, I mean, you know how stupid people are. I fucking hate all of you.
Yeah.
So okay, Kyle comes from the future, and we get these these flash. They're not flashbacks. They're flash forwards to the future. They're so compelling. It's like
Yeah.
Mad Max: The Road Warrior meets like Battlestar Galactica. I guess. Like I'm trying to think of like another like before this like evil robot like thing. That's I guess
Yeah.
Battlestar Galactica might be a good one.
But like the use of like effects and tight shots and like miniatures is so good
Masterful.
in this. It's like, and this is James Cameron's, I think, second movie.
His first was Piranha 2.
He did like a short film and then this.
Well,
and just out
did
the gate.
He did the sequel to this Piranha
Yeah.
series, and he didn't want to do it, and then he ended up getting kicked off of it. But sorry, I interrupted.
But like out the gate, seeing the like masterful control this guy has on such a limited budget, that he's like, Oh yeah, like that George Lucas guy everybody's crazy about for his effects right now. Like I've mastered it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like it's just crazy.
Is it
Like this looks better than of some Star Wars stuff.
100%? It's more compelling and it's more impactful, and it had you talking about much more important topics than what Star Wars had you talking about.
Right. I
Star
mean,
Wars is about daddy issues. Terminator is about mommy
yeah.
issues.
And I think Star Wars did a great job of taking what Stanley Kubrick did in 2001
Mhm.
of like giving you this vast like lost feeling of space and turn it into an action film, whereas like James Cameron took that and then turned it into this just like amazingly wildly paced like sci-fi using all the same style of effects. That's just like, God, where did this guy come from?
Well, I know that the Terminator comes from a nightmare that he had, and I didn't do any reading into that one woman who claimed that she wrote the Terminator and the Matrix, and like,
Oh, well,
that
they
that
did. What's Harlan Ellison is the writer that they had to credit.
Harlan Ellison.
Yeah, uh, because he claimed no, the Terminator is literally just two of my short stories
I had no mouth and
combined.
I must scream.
Uh, he wrote that, but it's not that.
He also did A Boy and His Dog.
I forget the names of the ones that he said the Terminator were based on, but they settled with him and they put his name in the credits of any
Really?
version of the movie that you have post 1986 or
I
something.
didn't know that. That's super cool.
Um,
I wish I'd looked into that more.
and like James Cameron to this day is sort of just like, I have to fuck this guy. Like,
Oh,
like,
if you're not familiar with Harlan Ellison, he's a difficult man.
yeah,
He's also thematically responsible for Fallout. Like the Fallout series is heavily inspired by his short story A Boy and His Dog, which later got turned into a feature-length film that did its best to separate itself from Harlan
yeah.
Ellison because he's a control freak monster that was just like yelling at everybody, and he's a brilliant writer, but he's a difficult man.
Yeah, so he went to his grave like stating like the fact that they settled that suit with me means that this is an adaptation of my books.
Interesting. So, okay, well, the hellscape of the Terminator is it's based. I mean, this is a very biblically charged story, in the sense that it's about it, it, it's a it's about like prophecy, and,
Big time.
it's about like a self fulfilled destiny where like Sarah Connor's her mantra is that the future is not set.
Mhm.
And that becomes like that's kind of the theme for the Terminator, except every movie proves that it is set.
Yeah, again, I've only seen the second one and then I stopped because James Cameron wasn't involved in the third one.
Yeah.
But it did raise a lot of questions for me about like what theory of time travel we're operating on. Like, and I think Kyle alludes to this very lightly. I think it's his belief like you won't change my future, but you will change a future because he knows he can't go back.
He knows he
He
can't
knows
go
he's
back.
stuck here.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's something at some point that's like
So
he believes in sort of a string theory timeline splitting
I know
thing.
at one point he's like, I don't know the technical stuff about it.
Yeah,
I'm
that
just
too.
a time traveler. But the lore for this is that at the point of Kyle's being sent back to 1984 is that the human resistance had succeeded in defeating Skynet's like mainframe. It had
Yes.
destroyed the mainframe, and the Terminator was sent back as a last ditch effort. That was their last card to play. It was like, okay, we can't. Basically, they're like the Terminator and Skynet's like whole thought process is okay. If we kill John Connor now, it won't make a difference.
Oh, I had this
So
all wrong. Okay.
if we and I watched a couple of deleted scenes too, and said that might be bleeding into it. But basically, the humans were winning the war against the machines at the point that he was sent back. But
Mhm.
then the Terminator sends back. I'm sorry, the Terminator is sent back to kill Sarah Connor so that John Connor could never be born. So that in the next eventual future, the only problem is that the proliferation of Skynet depends on a Terminator being sent back. Because then, as we know in part two, they find the remnants of the first Terminator that tried to kill Sarah Connor. They find his microprocessor and the arm and a couple other pieces. and they're able to reverse engineer it and thus create this new technology that then is able to evolve at that unprecedented rate, which then results in the Skynet hellscape that we see of the 2020s.
Mhm.
And so I don't want to try to make sense of the time travel logic.
I was saying we had to. I was just like, I don't know if they're very explicit about it or if they just are. Because I feel like we recently watched Back to the Future. It's kind of also the same. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
here's our logic, and it's like, okay,
Sure.
don't think about it too hard. That's a more I feel modern thing to like. Oh, let's really think about the impacts and the logic
Yeah.
of the time travel.
You guys
And
might not be ready for this, but your kids are gonna love it.
arguing about the lore of time travel and the physics and the science.
So, uh, Sarah Connor, this all could have. I wonder what would have happened if Sarah Connor hadn't been stood up on her date because the whole night. So she goes to work,
Yes.
she gets ice cream in her apron, has a bad day, and then she goes home, but she's like looking forward to it because she's going on a date with a guy with a nice car.
Uh-huh.
And her roommate Ginger, she's getting ready to have sex all night with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Funny. This is a very funny movie too. There's a
Yeah.
lot of comedy in this. That's like not like right in your face comedy, but it's just like if you're paying attention to like like the equivalent of human misery and how it can sometimes manifest into just very small grievances among all these horrible things. It's very funny.
Which another thing that like we just don't do in modern films anymore, acknowledging the existence of sexuality.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which I think is important for a movie that is about fighting a war against the machines, because this is like a very human or important part of humanity, you know. And they don't make that tie very explicit, but it's like, yes, these are two young sexual women, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Um, and I also just wanted to note that it's like very funny to think of, and I don't know like what Ginger's job is, but Sarah, who clearly has the worst waitress job in the world,
Yeah.
is still like, oh, I go out with rich guys with fancy cars. It's just such a
Yeah.
like, I don't know, 80s trope
Well, no.
to like be like, no, I'm a pretty white girl who has the worst job in the world and goes out with rich guys.
Well, but she doesn't. She gets stood up by them.
yeah,
You know?
fair enough.
The guy was like, "Oh, you smell like roast beef after work. I don't
Yeah.
want to hang out with you. Taste like a burger. I don't like you anymore."
I also love the pizza place she goes to, by the way. It just like has such a this is what Pizza Hut felt like to me in the 90s vibe.
Yeah, yeah. Someone put a cigarette out in my deep dish.
But like it still looked like somebody made it with care rather than
Yeah.
just pulling it out of a freezer.
I think that's just your Italian heritage showing right now. I like the part of the movie where they got pizza.
I like it when they got good cheese pull right from the fresh slice.
Just like Mama used to make. So, you see like 1980s LA, and then you see like war-torn post-apocalypse LA, and you're like, I don't see that big of a difference in this movie.
No, I mean just the lighting. I mean, it's not like they show just crazy people all over LA. Like, I especially like the like when she goes to Tech Noir,
Tech Noir. This is
Which
such a
is-
cool. What a cool club.
and like a cool place that I'm like I'd go to that club.
It's $5 cover in 1984 though. Think
And
about
it-
that overhead. That's crazy.
And it like sort of became like a genre description of this film.
Oh sure.
Because it's like it's not quite cyberpunk because it's so modern
Yeah.
and just set in the time, but like it is like flaunting the sort of punk and tech aesthetics of the time.
Big time.
That was a cultural niche, but like it's still prominently featured.
And it's no mistake that both Kyle Reese and the Terminator dress like punk rockers in this movie. They like both
Yeah,
look
or,
like they'd
new
be
waivers.
Yeah, new wave. Like they'd both be in like Public Image Limited.
Yeah.
Like, you know, with Kyle on bass and Terminator just is the drum machine.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there's some absolutely just vibey outfits in that club.
Yeah. But and it's got to be saying something about like James Cameron's like how he views like punk subculture
Yeah.
in the 80s, where it's just like sometimes they look scary but they're not bad guys at all, and sometimes they are just like on PCP and trying to kill you.
Yeah, I mean, he's absolutely like in tune to the countercultural style and fashion of the time
For sure.
in a way that shows up quite well.
So the Terminator is now making headlines as Sarah is out. She got stood up on her day, so she just decided to go out on town on her own, just kill some time, be sad on a Friday night, and um, she s- she's at the pizza restaurant, and the headlines come up about another Sarah Connor being killed, and it gets her in contact with is that Lieutenant Trexler, I believe. The two
Is that the black cop? I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
him. He's just
Uh
I love
yeah, that's played by Paul Winfield, who's such a deadpan like
he's
comedic
so
genius.
good.
He's so funny in this movie.
And also
And
yeah,
and Lance Hendrickson as Vukovic.
yeah, and so like when she's hiding at the tech noir club, Arnold finds her, shoots the place up, and then she like ends up at the police station. I love that lieutenant. Like this woman, like she just found out her roommate and her roommate's boyfriend were murdered.
Yeah.
She was just in this like mass gunfire assault of a nightclub. And he walks in with a cup of coffee, blasting a cig in her face.
Right
He's
in
like,
her face.
and he's like, "Tell me what you know."
Now he's a bit more gentle
Like
than
he
that.
means to be gentle, but like the little details add up. That's like this is not how I would approach this person.
Well, this is
just blasting cigarette smoke in their face.
This is an LA homicide detective
in the
who's
80s to be
who is fed up, and he's like his job day in and
one
day
day
out.
from retirement.
Yes, literally. And the tech noir shootout is it's in its own way. It's a masterclass of filming like panic
Mhm.
and like chaos and gun and like what gunfire does to a crowd.
Yeah.
Like this is a bit too close to home for a lot of people in America these days, where it's just like, oh, like I don't go to clubs.
Yeah.
I don't go to like functions anymore because I don't want to be gunned down among dozens of other people in the area.
Yeah,
Like,
and that kind of goes to what I was saying earlier of like part of me gets why movies aren't quite this viscerally violent anymore in an entertaining way.
because our culture has PTSD.
Yeah, because like if you did not grow up with this and you only know this type of violence from the news, from the headlines, from seeing it on social media in the real world, like, oh god, this is horrific.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
It's not fun anymore. I mean, but it's like I'm in that camp of like, but I grew up with it as entertainment, so it is still fun for me. It's very interesting that like it's like I feel like these movies should still be like canon, right? But I get why they're triggering for people
Sure.
in a way that I didn't when I was younger until before I also watched hundreds and hundreds of mass shootings.
Yeah. Well, this was escapist violence before it was too close to home for a lot of American viewers.
Right.
Where it's just like, oh man, guns are awesome. Like I wish I had a big dick.
It's
like,
crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to me to watch it in retrospect, be like, wow, we really went for it.
Yeah. So the Terminator kills Sarah's roommate Ginger and her boyfriend Matt, I think.
Yeah.
Matt again, who is like I looked
Absolute horn dog. I love Matt.
and I looked him up, and he did not do much like film work after this. He was in Top Gun, funny enough.
I love actually one of the first conversations in the movie is Matt calling.
First, I'm gonna take your
And-
blouse
and
off
just-
with my teeth.
Sarah picks up and is like, hello, and he doesn't recognize it's her, and he immediately blasts into having phone sex with her.
Yes, and
And she's like, Ginger, it's for you.
and Ginger comes on the phone, and it's just
It's just like,
back to page one.
It's like, yeah, dudes rock.
Yeah, he's got his hand down his pants already. It's
just
a
doesn't
very
care.
it's a funny movie. It's
And he
like,
still like shows up and like Sarah is has fun with him and this personality of his. Like he gives her a
These
little smooch on the cheek when he shows up, and
friends.
they're friends.
They're friends. Everybody loves each other in this, except the Terminator. Okay, so Kyle rescues Sarah from the tech noir massacre,
Mhm.
and this is how like. Okay, so do you know much about like Patty Hearst?
A little bit.
So
I know the sort of general
the
bullet
beats,
points of the beats of
no
the story.
no
Yeah.
pun intended, right?
Yeah.
She gets kidnapped by this like radicalist group, and then basically brainwashed into joining them.
Yeah.
And that was
And it was sort of in question at the time whether that was just like a fake defense or not.
that's the Sarah Connor
Yeah.
defense. Like she literally gets radicalized overnight by Kyle Reese.
Except
And
it's real.
it's a belief. Well, yeah, but she has at every step until every other person in her life is murdered, someone is trying to talk sense into her into not believing
Mhm.
the fantasy. But she buys in pretty quickly just based on anecdotal evidence. She's like, okay, if that is a unstoppable killing machine, I can't think of a better example besides that guy at the Tech Noir who I saw Kyle unload 10 shotgun shells into,
Yeah.
and then he gets back up. And then later, Trexler is just like, well, this is called a bulletproof vest. And like,
It's
it's
like,
like
no,
they come
no,
up with
dude.
they come up with real world answers that just keep not being enough.
Yeah.
But Sarah Connor goes from being a victim to an accomplice
Yeah.
to like
And-
she's a part of without meaning to. She's like adjacently responsible for the death of police officers.
Yeah, and I think absolute credit to like James Cameron and Linda Hamilton and their work in this is this chase between the nightclub scene to them being like grabbed by the police
Yeah.
or whatever.
Incredible shot.
There's so little dialogue, but her face, her emotions are so exactly how somebody in this situation I think might realistically play.
Oh,
like,
I know. I would be crying and pooping and vomiting and passing out.
well, I mean, she is horrified, but like her body is in flight mode, not freeze mode. Like,
Yeah, that's
she's
true.
still like, I'm gonna fight for survival.
Yeah.
But like the terror that she's experiencing feels correct for what like, and it starts for me especially when he flies up onto the car and punches
Yeah.
through. It's like she already saw him get shot 10 times
Yeah.
and get back up, but like that when it's like, how is this thing doing this? Is like the wheels are starting to turn. Like maybe this thing isn't human.
Yeah. But then she brings that up with the police, and Trexler's like, "Oh, he was on PCP. We've seen this before.
Yeah.
Like he broke every
They try
bone
to-
in his
they try-
hand, and he
yeah.
didn't feel it." And it's just like because like the human body's incredible. Like like from like police reports. Like there have been guys on PCP that the cop shoots this guy like 12 times with his service gun. Guy doesn't go down,
Right.
and like just keeps coming. And it's just like this is all based, until we see the Terminator cut out its damaged eyeball. Like you need we don't have proof that it's a robot necessarily. At least Sarah doesn't. But
Yeah.
oh dude, okay, so speaking of that, the eyeball thing, right?
Yeah,
So,
and
like,
this was like another moment for me that reminded me of like the level of body horror in this film as well. That I was like, oh yeah, this is very viscerally like gross, which is fascinating to like sit with. Where you're like, I know at this point this is a robot, but it still like feels so human that I'm squeamish watching him like repair his flesh and dig
No,
out his robot eyeball.
it's gross, but it's also, I mean, this is a reference to a nearly 100-year-old film that I believe Salvador Dali had some involvement with. It was a short film called Un Chien Andalou. If you translate that, it's called like a dog of Andalou, and it's about a woman. And I don't know the plot exactly because it's very surreal. But there's the famous shot, and if you've seen this, you know what I'm talking about right now. But in the film, there's a woman looking into a mirror, and she takes a razor blade and just slices it across her eyeball.
Ugh.
And they do it like it's the power of editing.
Yeah.
And it's where at first you just see this woman looking in the mirror, and then the razor goes up to her eye, and then you cut, and then they cut to I believe it's a dead cow's eye being slit.
Yeah.
And you see the gore of it happening, and it's a terrifying shot.
Yeah.
But it also is just like like, what does it mean? You know, but like,
Because you can with the power of
I
movie
never made
magic.
that connection until the one of my more
Yeah.
recent viewings of the movie. I was like, oh, like that's almost like a shot for shot of that film.
Yeah. And
And
actually, for me, one of the most visceral moments of the film is, well, first off, like, I think this is really well done. I think people would argue this didn't age well. I think it does.
oh,
His
they're wrong.
prosthetic mask.
Oh yeah, it's a
It's
little
like
rubbery.
it's clear it's rubbery. It's clear it's not him when it's been upscaled to 1080 or
Yeah,
4K.
yeah,
However,
yeah.
we're watching it, but like, I think it's really well done. But it's like one of the shots where it's clear. I think he still doesn't have any prosthetics on. And when he's doing exactly what you're saying, he's taking the X-Acto knife to like get his human eye out so he can expose his robot eye. And you just see Arnold put an X-Acto knife straight
Ugh.
into his eye.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know, like, movie magic, it probably just didn't have a blade on it or was, a prop of some kind. But that was like when I got the most squeamish throughout the entire viewing, is watching him put an X-Acto knife straight up to his eye.
Yeah, it's just gross. And they then they kind of echoed this in the sequel when he's showing his robot arm to Dyson
Mhm.
after all that happens. We'll get to that in a couple weeks. Um, Josh, do you like nuclear weapons?
Not the biggest fan,
Me
no.
neither. And I feel like this movie is responsible for a lot of people in our generation and beyond for like really coming to terms with like how bad nukes are and like what that represents to like humanity's future. Because I can't think of a future in which like humans like have a full scale nuclear war that like I can't think of one that looks good.
Yeah. There's
And you know,
I mean, I don't want to be involved in one in any way.
you know what? Same.
I like living. It's pretty cool.
I'll tap out. I'll tap out of that one.
Was there
But
a point beyond that?
well, like it's a cautionary tale.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Go ahead.
When we start talking about policymakers today relying on AI to make like major decisions,
Mhm.
that's the story of Terminator.
Yeah.
Like that, like when Skynet is then implemented into the military, like computers to like make the strategic decisions, the robots see all human beings as a threat to the Skynet's well-being,
Mhm.
and that's why they deem humanity obsolete. Therefore, it needs to create its own nuclear war to wipe out the humans, so that Skynet can what is it? It becomes self-aware. Self-awareness leads to self-preservation. Therefore,
Sentient.
yes, yes. Um, and so I mean, when we talk about like you know like major U.S. military officials using AI to make decisions
Mhm.
based on like how they're going to mobilize forces or allocate resources. Like it's just like James Cameron was talking about this 40 years ago, and
That's why he's the goat.
no one seems to be like listening or like paying attention.
This has been my thing with James Cameron for like a decade now. It's like everybody needs to shut up and listen to Jim.
Yes, he's got the shining.
Yeah.
That boy shines.
Yeah, it's like in a sane world, um, people like Peter Thiel, Sam Altman, like, would be laughed out of the room. And instead, our government is like, please do everything for us.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh boy. And I had another thought about the AI. Oh, and they even go so far in the film as I wrote it down exactly. It doesn't really matter, but like Kyle talks about how this dependence on AI started, and he mentions something. It was built for NORAD, which is was I forget what it stands for exactly, but that is like a government agency. It might be, I don't know if it's weather related or defense related. I forget. But yeah, it's like, so
North American Aerospace Defense Command.
okay, so yeah, it's like, was their version like, I think James Cameron is maybe responding to the Star Wars missile system a little bit. I don't know if that had happened already.
That was under Reagan,
but I don't know what year.
I don't know.
Where they were like, oh, we're gonna put like computers in space that will like laser down ICBMs if they come from the USSR.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, so he said this was built for NORAD by Cyberdyne Systems, a private company. Came in with this brilliant idea to use computers to run national defense, which is exactly what we've been doing for the past 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, it's cool. I also heard that like AI data centers are responsible for as much water usage as the entire bottled water industry this year.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Everything's going great. We love it. We love AI.
So the Holocaust was bad, and this movie reminds us of that because
speaking of,
because Kyle Reese,
Arnold does one to a police station.
Yeah. No,
which is probably it's like
Kyle Reese has like because the human survivors. So okay, the nuclear war happens. Skynet starts it, but the humans enact it. The human survivors are then rounded up by the robots to work in labor camps. Kyle Reese has like a Holocaust tattoo on his arm that he shows Sarah, and it's just kind of like it's just like, hey, like, you know, it's a different flavor, but it's the same basic recipe.
Yeah.
And so that yeah, Terminator wiping out this police station, it's one of the coolest things that a killer robot could do.
I mean, it definitely exemplifies the strength of the robot is like what it does for the plot outright.
Yeah,
you know?
That's a good way of putting it.
Is like there's a scene right before this where the lieutenant tells Sarah, "There's 30 cops in this station. There's no way." And then he literally walks in and does his "I'll be back" and drives the car in and just starts blasting. It's quite comedic in a way that you feel that like James Cameron is kind of poking fun at like the ineptness of cops.
Sure.
And you know, not in from the same sort of like political stance that like, you know, ACAB types in the 2020s would, but like he is sort of poking some fun at like these people are not they don't really serve and protect the way they say they do.
These are very concerned cops.
Yeah. They're not like bad, like, oh, we're dumb, lazy cops, but like they're not good at their jobs either.
That is true. While the Terminator is doing all this, we get a very early example of like a first-person shooter perspective of the Terminator's red vision, and you see like its right hand is holding an assault rifle forward, as if it was a first-person shooting game. And
John Romero watched that and goes, "Oh,
yeah, I mean
that's a great idea."
Kind of, yeah. Man, oh, dude, I read John Romero's memoir. It was quite good. I don't remember. I think it was called Doom Guy. Yeah, but Doom's a good game too. It's got a lot to thank the Terminator for
sure.
But so what's the name of the psychologist? He's fantastic in this movie.
Yeah, he's like almost a little too comedic reliefy.
Yeah, Dr. Silberman.
How excited he is about like
that's how shallow he is.
I think it's both. He's a little shallow, and again, I can't place this exactly in time with all the other cultural things going on. But I think of it as like he's like, oh, I can get on a show like Sally Jesse or FIL.
Yes.
You're like you just take a freak and you put them out for an audience and then you get famous.
This is in the wake.
And now if you follow the dominoes of that culture, that's why RFK is our Health and Human Services guy.
I wouldn't like basically he's a true crime writer who's using his like access to the loony bin to give him material. And like this is in the wake of like the 60s and 70s serial killer sprees that we were seeing. And like in the 80s we also had a big string of them. Still, you know what, there's at this point I think there's something like 2,000 active serial killers in the US right now. So
I was thinking of it more as like this culture of like afternoon viewing for idle moms.
Yes.
Showing them a world that's way scarier than the real world.
Well, it's showing the sensationalized version of the criminal underbelly.
Yeah.
and like
advertising an outlier as the norm.
it's the days of the supermarket like true crime, like US or Weekly World News, like oh, our interview with the BTK, or oh, Jeffrey Dahmer, new information, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but then that's like spiraled into like the wellness stuff on Oprah of like they're lying to you about autism or
Sure, sure.
It's like it's all a funnel from that same sort of sensational whatever you call this of the 80s.
Yeah, I'd call it true crime sensationalism.
That the psychologist is again just this little like 1 or 2 lines of satire about it.
He's like, I could make a career out of this guy.
Yeah,
is what he says.
It's like James Cameron nailed it 40 years in advance.
And I wouldn't even call it.
We're gonna drive people crazy with this kind of stuff.
It's not pessimistic, but it's a little
cynical.
Jaded.
It's very cynical.
Yeah. Okay. Kyle and Sarah escape the shootout at the police station, right? Okay, so I'll be back. We gotta talk about "I'll be back" because that's the most important line in Arnold Schwarzenegger's life.
Yeah.
Apparently the script, it was something, he was going to say something else. He was going to say like, "I'll return later," and Arnold's like, I don't want to say that. I think it'd be better if I just do different words.
Yeah.
And it was like an unwitting. It was lightning in a bottle. I mean, like, "I'll be back." It's like, and when you think about like how you could apply that to the plot, where it's about going back in time, "I'll be back." It's just like you can. It's loaded. It's heavy. This is you got more than salt and ketchup on these fries. These are loaded fries.
I was talking to my wife, who's in the other room right now, about like revisiting this movie and going, wow, this was so much more culturally pervasive than even I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just telling her about it. And then last night I opened like Apple Music, and the first thing it recommended for me was some classical artist just put out a single called "I'll Be Bach."
No. Oh, that's cute.
And I was like, see? It's there. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
But like that's so funny to think about a classical musician playing Bach, referencing this insane ultra-violent sci-fi movie in his album title.
The soundtrack for this movie,
amazing. We didn't even
just incredible. We'll just say this: the
only John
the audio
can
overall for this movie. Yeah. They're like, it's a good sounding movie. You got the soundtrack with this like strange robotic synthesizer music that's like a little bit industrial because you got the like clanging of hammers in it, and it's like a little arrhythmic.
Yeah, the arrhythmicness out the gate when the title screen is coming up, which is also iconic, is like the
arpeggios.
If it's the da 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 da, there's something that's happening. It's the same thing happening out of time twice.
Yeah,
against itself. That's so like discomforting immediately right at the beginning of the film.
It's like robots wrote it, and they don't understand the importance of rhythm.
Yeah, right. We are Charlie Cook. We're carried afloat.
Like I have some very, very good friends who are not afraid of AI in the way that I am.
I'm sorry.
And no, I see them as more intelligent than me in this case because they know more about some of its application. And like, I'm not trying to draw a line in the sand and be like, humans on this side and clankers on the other. But like, I when they talk about AI, they see it as they are optimistic about its integration into humanity, and they're like, it's almost like a Star Trek like utopia that AI could promise if it's properly wielded.
But it won't be, because look who's in charge.
But so long as capitalism remains and the monetization of commodities it stays, AI will only be useful to the ultra wealthy. But
it's like that I think that optimistic view is not useful without bare minimum a political revolution that throws all these people in the furnace.
And that's kind of what their perspective like hinges on.
Which is what I say about all revolutions, is like being hopeful that your ideology, when you are so powerless now, is going to be the one that comes out on top is extremely like naive.
Yes. The revolution of losing hope.
Yeah, I don't say losing hope. It's just like like the AI proliferation. It's moving way faster than like a revolution that would like that. It would take so long to be successful. You know,
Mhm.
like the building of a movement that can overtake that is so far
Oh,
behind
yeah.
the rapidity with which they're moving that like if you say, well, then we'll just have a violent revolution
Oh, we'll just do that
instead.
real quick.
We'll just do that real quick. The idea that like yours is going to be the one that wins is so stupid and naive. I think I said this. I don't know why I said this about The Last of Us when we talked about it, but same thing. New movie, same thing.
Yeah. But the whole hinge of their argument does, like, rely on AI being put in charge. And it's just like, that'll never happen. No one, like, is going to willingly give over control completely
Mhm.
to an artificial intelligence in that way. Like, not without being completely brainwashed. Like, I mean, maybe in 2 generations that is going to be the case. I can't say because I don't have The Shining. But, like, I think about, like, the ways that AI learns to mimic and to, like, recreate and, like, to remix and do all of these, like, strange, like, approximations of like, AI music can calculate in slight, like, like, how do I put it? Like, a human playing a hand drum, like,
Mhm.
just a bongo, is gonna sound cool because there's gonna be, like, there might be a little swing to it, there might be,
Yeah.
like, a little arrhythmic, like, that makes it humanizing, and AI is learning how to replicate those little discrepancies that only humans are capable of.
Which is funny because in sample-based MIDI music, we've had this forever. Like I use Logic Pro for music production. There's a tool in it where you can like select a MIDI, like if you've painted a bunch of MIDI exactly to the grid of a tempo,
Yeah, it'll sound
it'll humanize it. It has like these algorithms that it uses
yeah,
where it's like it doesn't do it in a human way where like a human might I'm gonna get real nuanced
go
here.
for it.
Like a human, like on the hi hat, they might repeatedly swing, like an off beat or something. Whereas this, it's like just pretty random, but that's been built into Logic Pro for at least 15 to 17 years
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like that's nothing new.
But that's why people are able to be so easily fooled by this AI slot music
Mhm.
that, uh, certain platforms are trying to push as, like, top of the pops.
Oh no, I get like freaked out sometimes because I really like long soothing sound things on
Mhm.
YouTube. And like I've gotten to the point if it's less than 2 years old, I won't do it because it's
Interesting.
probably AI slop.
Yeah, yeah. I
Anyway,
I don't know. I think we all just need to get nuked out of existence, I guess.
I
Um,
still have a little bit of hope, but it ain't good.
okay.
Anyways,
So,
back to the Terminator. This is all
S
about the Terminator, really.
Sarah and Kyle, they've escaped the police shootout, and that's they start trauma bonding at this
Yeah.
point. This is where Sarah's just like, "Okay, that is a killer robot." Like,
Yeah.
she's like,
She's
"I'm
like, I
sold."
believe it all.
Yeah,
Let's go.
and
I'm in.
then, like, the physical intimacy starts coming closer and closer when she realizes that Kyle's been shot. Like, he
Yeah.
he took a bullet in his arm, or in his hand, I think, and, like, she goes into field medic, like, mode, and, um, that's where, like, that's their first, like, embrace of
Yeah.
sorts,
This is
and
also in the hero's journey circle thing. This is like what you finally accepts
her
the call
call
to
to
action because
action.
and like is like now you're in the deep end.
Oh, yeah.
You do not get to go back
No,
to normal
no,
life.
now you're gonna learn how to make pipe
This is the
bombs.
rest of your life.
Josh, did you ever read the Anarchist Cookbook?
No.
I did as a kid. It was like I found like a PDF of it, and I like it's just like it's not a harmless book. It is a dangerous book in the sense of like I don't think you should be able to just check that one out at the library.
Uh,
I do think that it is like when you're publishing the like how to make dangerous weapons, like that's something that you need to have some sort of roadblock for that so that a young kid can't find that
Yeah.
and perhaps do something like that. But it's a very interesting read. And this movie is basically like, hey kids, do you ever wonder how to make a pipe bomb? You're just gonna need to buy some ammonia and some mothballs, and be careful. It's extremely,
Is it accurate? Do you know? Because I think the same thing. Like they do this in Fight Club too, where
Oh.
they state a recipe for like you do this, you basically got napalm.
The
And,
most
like,
dangerous.
I don't know how accurate these things are because I'm not a weirdo.
The
I
most
follow
dangerous
up.
thing I learned how to make in the Anarchist Cookbook was basically you cut a tennis ball open and you fill it with match heads, and then you put
And
yeah. We can do that if you like. And it basically makes a smoke bomb if you were to throw it, because the matches will burn from the inside, and it's just like you try it once, you're like, that was stupid. Like, what am I doing? Or like, how to make napalm very easy, just styrofoam and gasoline, and beep, sorry,
technical difficulties. We'll be right back.
We've just been assassinated by the CIA. Oh boy, you can see Sarah Connor's boobs though.
Yes. It's a little bit, there was like a part of me that kind of forgot that he's John Connor's father.
Oh, good for you.
Until we got to this part with, oh yeah, it is that stupid, isn't it? That of course the father of the child of the revolution is the only man she knows. And it happens to be the man who time travels from the future.
Yeah. Now, okay, we definitely know that Sarah Connor took a shower after all this, but we don't know if Kyle took a shower.
We don't know if he knows what a shower is.
And okay, I'm going to call it a controversial theory about the Terminator. I'm going to posit that Kyle Reese is not actually the true father. And only because, 2028, Kyle Reese infiltrates Skynet, goes into the time displacement machine, warps back to LA. He's naked. First thing he does, he steals pants from a homeless guy who looks like he might have just been jacking off.
No, I don't like where this is going.
The events of the Terminator happen until they get to their hotel room. And then Kyle Reese takes off these homeless guy's pants and raw dog Sarah.
I don't think you know how human reproduction fluids work. If this is going where I think this is going.
Did you just pee in the girl? So I think that perhaps, and if you look at how like John Connor like develops, like especially, I'm just gonna make fun of Edward Furlong for a second for like his substance abuse issues. It kind of looks like the homeless guy. That Edward Furlong plays John Connor in the second movie.
The kid?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm basically saying that that John Connor was born from homeless LA guy spawn.
Yeah, no, that's not how human reproductive fluids work.
Well, that's just an opinion.
That's a very scientifically inaccurate one, children.
Well, also
listening.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the time travel's real. We could just do that, can't we?
Fair enough.
But in any case, he is just like not wearing underwear, and he's wearing like random homeless pants, and might not have taken a shower before he had sex with Sarah Connor. And it's just a thing that always stuck in my mind, and it's gross.
Yes, I'm just gonna reaffirm it's not how bodily fluids
work. Well, we'll see. We'll let the future decide.
But anyways, so she takes his virginity.
Yeah, can you imagine his post-nut clarity?
The way
after going through time and then finally having sex.
I also know like this sex scene is all of like 5 to 10 seconds long, and like he wouldn't have lasted that long.
Oh no, he's
it would have been over immediately. I don't even know if he would have anyway, I don't need to get too gruesome.
What is post-apocalyptic sex ed like?
It's non-existent if you go based on what, like, he talks about it as if like it's just not a thing in their world. He's just like, nobody has time to think about that. Is kind of like his attitude about it.
Oh man, he's really grabbing her boobs in there too.
I mean,
he's a regular Terminator.
Instinctive things that would arise, but like he yeah, his attitude towards sexuality seems to be that like, what? Why would anybody have time to think about that when she
Yeah.
brings it up?
It's interesting because when in one of the flash, we'll call it flash forward scenes where he's remembering the future. Also a great title, Remember the Future. And, um, he's fighting one of the giant. I think it's called a hunter killer.
Mm,
That's the tank that he throws the
the
bomb
tank
at,
with the
and
arms.
he's fighting alongside like a pretty lady, who he like. It seems like there was like a romantic, like perhaps like intention between the two of them, because like she gets blown up and you see him like look like extra sad.
He just gives one of those like
He's like,
looking down. Ah,
dang, the last woman on earth,
yeah.
the last hot woman on earth. Dang it.
Yeah, like and it's again, it's like I think it's done well for like a guy who lives a life like this. He doesn't have time to grieve. He just goes, ah, just keeps going.
Yeah. So the reason the Terminator is able to find them at the hotel is because Sarah Connor calls her mom
Mhm.
and like is just like doing kind of like a welfare check-in. She's like, "Listen, mom, I know that like the police all got killed and they're wondering and they think I'm connected to it, and like I'm like on the run with like a psychopath that says he's from the future, but I'm fine. Don't worry, I won't use a condom when I have sex with this stranger from the future. And also, by the way, I'm staying at this hotel." Turns
Which
out she wasn't talking to her mom.
yeah, and I thought like I think this speaks well to the pacing of the movie. Is that I think in almost any other movie, there would have been extra 5 to 10 minutes of them being in conflict with each other because he finds out that she gave up where they are, and now he has to be in a fight with her.
Mm,
And like, because I was like almost expecting that to happen, not
yeah.
remembering the plot, and they just blow right through
You
it.
know, because James
It's not
Cameron,
important.
an
Just keep the movie moving.
efficient
Yeah,
filmmaking.
it's the best.
He's like, we're not selling tickets to see domestic dispute. Like
Well, and
we don't need to humanize this any more than we want. Like we need this to be this movie is a chase scene.
yeah, his sense of pacing, speed, this whole movie's a chase scene is just so tight the whole way. And like I'm comparing it like I think I brought this up in another one. Having like rewatched Back to the Future and how much like I hate I don't know if this is just a Robert Zemeckis thing. It happens a little bit in Star Wars where it's like, there's just one more layer of tension that
Yeah.
happens when you're just ready for it to release and be over. Like when Doc is trying to get Marty to hit the lightning thing, it's just
Yeah.
like
The
one more thing keeps going on. One more.
Over mounting of tension.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 layers extra that like James Cameron has absolutely no time for that nonsense in this movie, and that's part of what makes it perfect.
No, instead what we see is that we see Sarah Connor go from being a damsel in distress to like the beginnings of like an action hero.
Yeah,
And
the
it-
closest.
It's her like taking care of this like knight in shining armor from the future, who then turns out to be like kind of a weaker link when it comes to survival, because it's like she is the one that wins at
Yeah.
the end of the day. Spoiler.
Yeah. Which, well, to get to the point, I think the closest this movie comes to that, like, sort of, we've overmounted the tension thing, is when just the Terminator's arm is surviving and still going for her.
Mhm.
But at that point, it's so earned. Like, it's like and it's not doesn't overstay its welcome.
That's much more in line with like the Friday the 13th
Yeah.
series, where it's like, okay, we just put a hatchet into Jason's forehead and he's laying down on the ground now, and now the survivors are walking away from Camp Crystal Lake,
Mhm.
and then at the very end it's just like, "Ah!" and then
Yeah.
he jumps up and tries to kill them one more time. And again, this is a slasher with guns. This is a gunner.
Yeah, and this movie only does like 2 rounds of that basically.
Yep.
There's like the first time when they're this like car and motorcycle chase ends in a big crash, and then he takes a semi truck. The Terminator takes a semi truck.
Yeah.
He ends up getting exploded inside it, and they think, well, fire has to stop robot. And that's like the first time it happens.
And then the bear skeleton comes
Yeah.
like limping out after her.
Yeah, and then the second time is like I forget what they put one of the pipe bombs literally into its exoskeleton, and it blows up, and they think one more time like we got him, and then it's the crawling.
Yes.
And I think that's just the right amount of like playing with the audience's expectations of like, they got him. Oh no, he's still there. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's perfectly paced movie.
Yeah, and I mean, there's not much movie to it after what we just described. Where it's like, and okay, so the final level of this movie, right, is this big industrial, like mechanical, like factory.
Mhm.
That I don't know. There's a bunch of like robotic arms that are. It seems to be like a assembly plant for some sort of machinery, which is appropriate, thematically given what is chasing them, and um Sarah Connor like is she's very badly hurt, and it's just like she's got one last chance as the robot is like reaching through some grating to try to get its last stranglehold on her.
Mhm.
She gets her pretty I say this is a pretty weak action movie like one liner where she says, "You're terminated,
Yeah.
fucker." It's like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
like
not their best line
not
in the
the
movie.
best. And then but like, and all she's got is a button to press, this yellow button, I think, and it's like she doesn't know if it's actually gonna.
I thought that through this whole scene. It's like, they have no idea what any of these buttons do.
Yeah,
I don't care. It's great.
it's just like you immediately have like a zinger just in the last like moment of your life, perhaps, where you're like, "You're terminated, fucker." I was like, I didn't buy it.
Yeah.
I didn't really like. I mean, I guess
I
from a character standpoint, you can be like, okay, she went from being like, "Oh dear, I'm so scared," to like, "Yeah, die."
For me, like all this whole final action sequence is sold by how well James Cameron's craft of the special effects of like, when do I use this like sort of robotic thing that's like held in a tight close up to sell that this whole robot is real? When do I use like stop motion compositing? Is just like so masterfully done that like you see 2 or 3 shots of it's like, oh, it's full shot stop motion robot, but you totally buy this is a real robot 40 years later,
Oh yeah,
it's so good. And the there's also something interesting going on in this scene. There's a superfluous amount of shots of the primitive robots of the factory
yeah.
in motion, moving very similar to this thing. I don't know if there's something trying to be stated here about like the fact that the thing that finally stops it is the primitive version of itself that we currently have.
I mean, that's a pretty succinct description of the plot.
Yeah.
I mean, like it goes back into the past and it's defeated by a primitive, seemingly obsolete force,
Yeah.
despite
Of a
its
simple machine.
refinements.
Just a like almost quite literal simple machine
Yeah.
of a pulley and lever
Yes.
dropping pressure onto it,
Yeah.
know.
That's all it takes is brute force. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, the Terminator, it's an interesting like concept where it's like, okay, if a omniscient robotic AI like supercomputer wants to kill people, the first thing it does is replicate people instead. Like, I know that the future Terminator movies that they get into, they're like, no, why don't you just create a virus, or like, why don't you just like why don't you just keep nuking them? Like, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just like, oh, but the only way you can kill a human and make it
human.
is with a fake human.
Given how bad our AI overlord machines are now, I mean that logic checks out.
Yeah.
They will do something stupid like that.
So after that, like after Sarah defeats the Terminator, so I won't say destroy because its integral components are still uh viable enough to be reverse engineered, as the sequel will later go on to tell us. But then now that Sarah's, she's been impregnated, she's carrying what she believes to be the hope for
Leader of the
humanity.
revolution. Yeah.
And another one of those funny like little things that like I think the pop psychology likes to poke fun at with the Terminator is that like the hope for humanity has the initials JC. The one man who
Yeah.
who
Hold on.
we're getting
Since we're talking
word from the
about
wife.
the immaculate conception stuff, the very Catholic wife needs to step in and have a comment. Hold on.
I would just like to add that every woman who's ever carried a baby, or of any gender, I don't care. Anyone who's ever carried a baby, you do think you are carrying the hope for humanity. It's just like a thing that happens in your brain.
I don't know. My mom inhaled way too much like lead paint dust while she was pregnant with me. I don't think she had that much hope for me.
No, even if you're not doing it well, there's still a part of you that's like, this is gonna save the world. Yeah. It's the best.
Which is very funny because we like talk about our child in terms of like, I don't want her to feel the pressure to save the world. So we talk about that all the time.
We never want that pressure, but it's absolutely a thing, I thought.
Yeah, and like this movie ends so explicitly with that message of like, I am carrying the one hope for the future.
Yeah.
Which she has very definitive proof of. Like, this is a very, like you said, the angel Gabriel came down and told her, you're carrying the Christ
the
figure,
chosen one,
and you need to protect it.
Yes.
And it turns her into the coolest action hero of all time in the next movie.
Sure does. But this is like the perfect, like, origin story to a superhero. Like, Sarah Connor becomes a superhero.
Yeah.
She's like, or perhaps an anti-hero. More. We'll get into that in our T2 discussion. But she's going to the mountains. A storm is coming.
She's going to these CGI or like composited mountains for some reason.
Oh, I mean, thematic.
I was just curious. I was like, I wonder if they just couldn't get the location they wanted. So they composited this in. It's a very bizarre last shot when she drives towards the mountains. But anyway.
She stops for gas, and a little boy wants to take her photo and overcharge her for a Polaroid.
Which I love. I love she says something like, good hustle, kid.
Yeah. Because he's like $5. She's like, I'll give you $4. Yeah. And he's like, okay.
I'm like, this is such a like, oh, this woman is grounded. Mm-hmm. Like, because I feel like that's sort of my approach to, like, there's a guy at the market who, like, he has a hustle. Like,
the singing guy?
Yeah, he pulls people in, starts talking to them about God stuff.
I love that guy.
And, like,
deep voice that loves to sing.
And because I see him every week, and, like, it's like he has a hustle. And it works. But there is a mark. There's a target mark for that hustle. And, like, I never say this to his face, but I'm like, dude, I'm not your mark. Like, I'm of here. I know your hustle. Like, it doesn't work on me. But I'm all for you doing this to the tourists who come through.
Oh yeah, he's like, why aren't you smiling?
Yeah, he says, "Yo, not too friendly, huh?" That's what he says to me every week.
What a friend we have in Jesus.
Yeah, and I'm like, great hustle, dude.
Yeah.
And I do think like this is the right approach to people who are like just trying to survive. I don't know. I sort of like, I don't know, learned this. It's like sort of a lineage of like the Black Panthers and then Tupac, who came to the Black Panthers, who talks about hustles a lot.
Yeah.
You know? And like Malcolm X talks about hustles in his autobiography. And like, yeah, you got to respect the hustle, because this whole stupid country and society, the people in power are running a hustle on you. So run one back. And like, the fact that like she sees that is so like, oh, this woman is grounded and ready to go.
Yeah,
but she's like what it speaks to me as somebody who thinks in those terms.
But she maintains empathy.
Yeah, like she's totally empathetic to this kid. She's like, oh my god, I'm getting ripped off by this little boy. You know?
Yeah. No, she's the mother of the human fighting force.
Yeah,
so,
I just think it's a great way to show how she's evolved.
Yeah. It's you know what, Josh? I like this movie a lot.
I do too.
I really like the Terminator. I'm a big fan. I'm very glad that James Cameron took up filmmaking as a career.
I'm glad he did what he did.
I've got some alternate titles for the Terminator I want to workshop.
Yeah.
with
Also, anything we missed, feel free to bring up here.
First alternate title: Dad from the Future.
Dad from the future, past relations, impregnation.
This one would be called Sarah Connor's Bad Day.
Sarah Connor and the No Good Very Bad Day.
Do Androids Dream of Linda Hamilton?
Absolutely.
the time traveling raw dogger.
Well, actually, the androids sort of have nightmares of her
Yeah, they're worried about
because
her.
she's their ultimate enemy. So, what else we got?
Let's see. War of the Metal Skeleton Guys. Robotic Cop Killer. Not RoboCop Killer.
Oh, I get it. Okay, yeah. Which one of the games I want to try? As I think there is a Terminator versus RoboCop Super Nintendo game.
Sure is.
I'm gonna at least poke at that for a few minutes.
Yeah,
for the next
that's
episode.
all you'll get out of it.
Just a little preview there.
It's not that good. I mean, you'll love it. That's all I got. So I married a Terminator hunter.
So, good stuff.
Okay, so what else? I mean, what else? We didn't really miss anything, I think. Like,
no, that's good. I just my one note that I jotted down. It's completely irrelevant. But there's the part where she gets they get to the motel and she goes, "I'm dying for a shower."
yeah,
Was just like triggered this thing in my brain in Final Fantasy VII
I
Remake.
knew you were gonna say that with Tifa.
Tifa just keeps going, "I could kill for a shower." Like
'Cause they want
every
you to
fight
think
that
her
you
naked.
finish. Yeah. Yeah. And like it's the same thing.
Yeah,
And then she's naked in the next 2 minutes.
yeah, it's great.
I could kill for a shower. I just need that. I need the I could kill for a shower sound button on here.
I have amnesia.
And the
I can kill
yeah.
for a shower.
Need to add those at some point. But anyways,
Okay,
it's the
so
Terminator. It's the best.
it's-
Go watch it if you
it's-
haven't, you
it's-
idiot.
if you've listened to this entire discussion and you've not watched the Terminator, go back to the future. No, that means you're great and we love you, and well, we might like you at least.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a quick reminder if you listen to this because you went, cool, a 2-hour Terminator podcast. This is actually a video game podcast. You can subscribe, and there's lots of in-depth chats about video games and then their adaptations that are usually not as good as the Terminator films.
That's right. Speaking of adaptations of the Terminator, I read the novelization of the Terminator.
Of course you did.
And the only detail that I really remember is that it gives you a lot more perspective from Kyle Reese. Because it's
about like the future.
It's a book, so you gotta have
Yeah.
like internal dialogue sometimes and all that stuff. And the scene that I remember the most is it's when Kyle's just stolen a car, and he's looking for Sarah, and he eats like 8 Snickers bars, and he's just like, "This is awesome." Like he's like, "I love the 80s."
They should not have cut that scene.
If
I
only
would
the
love-
guys from the 2020s could know how many Snicker bars I just had access
I'd
to.
love an Encino Man scene.
Yes. Yes.
Of
Encino
Kyle
Man.
Reese discovering how awesome
Oh, dude,
junk food and skateboarding is.
I love calories. Yeah. So this movie started so many amazing careers. I mean, like Linda Hamilton, like outside of the Terminator, like I know she did like the Beauty and the Beast thing with Ron Perlman.
She got half of James Cameron's money.
Yeah, because she married James Cameron briefly.
Yeah. I don't know if it was, half in perpetuity, which
I
would
don't
mean
know.
she's doing fine.
She's still doing fine regardless.
Yeah.
And she's back in the theaters lately, and it's good to see her, and she's a lovely woman who has never done anything I disagree with, as far as I know.
Whereas
Arnold
James Cameron,
Schwarzenegger is not
Oh, yeah,
so
that's-
much that guy.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, I don't know enough about like how he governed to have too strong an opinion. I just know he was on, the Republican ticket, and I never would have voted for him.
He was a fiscally conservative, socially liberal.
He was a pre-MAGA Republican.
He was a
in
California Republican. So it kind of tells you everything you need.
And
to
now
know.
he's in those commercials where like, come to California, where they like are just advertising tourism.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought it was going
It's
to be
kind of
like
always up to
Viagra or something.
Whereas James Cameron is the most complicated genius who will save or destroy us all. Most likely save, if anything.
Weird little anecdote I remember picking up. There's a couple making of documentaries that were pretty good about the Terminator. While James Cameron was making the Terminator, he was almost from according to this little anecdote that I read, he was living off of he was super poor, not making any money, basically like starving artist trying to get his big movie out. And his mom would mail him buy one get one free Big Mac coupons. And so this movie was made
On Big Macs.
on Big Macs. And now James Cameron is making a huge deal with the
On
Avatar.
IMAX.
Oh, shit. No, but the Avatar Fire and Ash in theaters now.
Yeah.
There's a Big Mac or a Whopper deal.
Is there really?
Yeah. I mean, but it makes sense that like he grew up on junk food. Now he's selling junk food.
Well, it's interesting because his films are about like we need to save the world by not consuming and destroying the planet. Is like what his movies are all about now.
No, that's just what Final Fantasy is about.
Yeah, but like that's Avatar too, which is fascinating. And like there, I haven't read enough details. I don't know. I'm not going to get into the details of Avatar production. But on this note, go see Avatar Fire and Ash in theaters. Even if 4 weeks from now, when this publishes and I've seen it and it's terrible, I still want you to go see it because I need him to keep doing whatever it is he's doing.
He's not going to run out of money. He'll do whatever he wants.
I just need him to keep making
How many more
weird
Avatars?
stuff.
We're on part 3 right now.
This is the third one. I think there's like 10 more planned. I need to see it through.
Well, Michael Biehn did a good job. He's a very incredible supporting lead actor. I only really know him from like his other James Cameron appearances. He was in Aliens, playing a space marine. He's really good at playing future soldiers. And he plays Johnny Ringo in Tombstone, the gayest cowboy movie that's ever been made. It's beautiful. If you need to see some beautiful men like longingly gaze into each other's eyes before they shoot each other,
That sounds nice.
Tombstone.
That sounds very nice.
It'll get you horned up. I like it. Okay, campers, we're done talking about Terminator and etc.
For now.
For now, come back next time. We're gonna talk about some of the Terminator 1 video games or games released around that era.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll just dabble all the ones from the era, like even the Terminator 2 ones, and then the 2D No Future No Fate one will be its own episode.
Oh, okay. So you want to talk about some of the Terminator 2 video games as well?
I'm just gonna play all the ones from that era.
That's
and,
good. That's good. That's good. We'll do that.
We'll bounce around.
Yeah.
See if there were any good ones.
Yeah, and then we're gonna talk about the best James Cameron movie, perhaps.
It's maybe the best movie from I haven't rewatched it in a couple years, but again, my memory is it's just this is what a movie is. This is if you want to know what a good movie is, you just watch Terminator 2.
Yeah. Oh, we haven't done this in a little bit. You playing anything right now?
Oh, dang. Shoot, that's a good question. I'm in a bit of a lull. Yeah, we can have this conversation. Because I finished all of the sort of gameses of the years, that were good.
Yes.
Like, this year I played Death Stranding 2. I played Silk Song. I played Expedition 33. There's one other one I played that I'm blanking on. That was last year.
Oh, yeah.
There's one other one I played from this year that I'm just blanking on. But so now I'm out of games that looked good this year. I'm not gonna play Donkey Kong Bonanza. I don't have a Switch 2. But now I'm dabbling in like other things. One of them is Blueprints, which was like kind of people said it was like a sleeper hit this year. You're a little boy who is inherited his great uncle's massive manor.
Sick.
And you rebuild it every day.
Okay.
It's like a magical building that resets itself every day. So it's a roguelike where you build room by room this manor. It's like all about puzzle solving, learning the story through reading things that are laying around, doing puzzles. And like the deal is in your uncle's will is like you don't get to own the manor until you find my secret chamber that you've never been to.
Nice.
So your goal is to find the secret chamber. And like you just run out of resources and have to reset and try again the next day over and over again.
That sounds compelling.
It's been all right so far, but most of my mental space for video games right now is occupied by I did my Secret of Mana video.
Yeah.
Not a ton of views, but all the comments are like, "Wow, this is incredible." Too bad nobody's watching it. Like just because that's part of it is like it's Secret of Mana. I knew like there's not a huge audience for that in 2025, but now I'm working on one for Chrono Trigger. But I'm not playing Chrono Trigger yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm playing everything around it. So like yesterday, while my wife was finishing up her work for the holidays, I was playing like an hour and a half of Dragon Quest V next to her, like, I'm having fun. Let me eat my comfort food. Because that's the last game Yuji Horii worked on before Chrono Trigger, and the difference is compelling and stark.
Was that on Super Famicom?
Yeah.
Dragon Quest V? Okay.
Anyway, what about you?
I started I finally, as a lifelong fan of the Fallout series, I've played Fallout 2, Fallout Tactics, Fallout 3, Fallout 4. I finally started a game of Fallout New Vegas, which is like critically seems to be one of the more highly ranked Fallout games, especially in the 3D like first person Fallout games. And it's the reason that I was prompted to start playing it is because of the Fallout TV series is now going into territory that treads through some key points of Fallout New Vegas that I've never experienced before, and it's going fine. I don't know if the hype is going to hit me as hard as it would have
for the show or the
15
game?
years ago. The game. I haven't started watching season 2 of Fallout yet. I loved season 1. Watched it with delight every episode. And I wasn't like aching or like yearning for season 2, but now that it's here and I understand that like I'm missing some key lore to fully appreciate it, I decided I'm gonna play Fallout New Vegas before I watch it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just
how far
doing that
are you
to
into
myself.
it?
I started it yesterday.
Okay.
I only played like an hour.
Because like there's a sort of a joke I've heard about New Vegas, like in message boards and podcasts, where people are like, "Oh, it's a great game if you spend the 4 hours it takes to put all the mods that make it playable on it."
You know, it's on sale right now on Steam. I got I got New Vegas plus like a bunch of the DLCs bundled for $8.
Nice.
And which would have cost me like $300 back in the day to get all this stuff. So I'm like, great, it's fun. But then I started up, and this happens in Fallout games. If you like download these DLC without ever starting a game, it just gives you a bunch of stuff.
Pops, yeah, all
and
this
it's
inventory
like,
stuff.
It keeps telling me like, oh, you've got a new
ding.
a new radio signal.
I hate that.
And I was just like, this sucks. I wanted to uninstall all of that crap and just play vanilla Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah,
I haven't.
And sometimes it's like you don't even try and you're accidentally overpowered by that stuff.
I started off with a grenade launcher.
Yeah.
I was like, what's going on? So I wish I had maybe just bought the base game and had been able to appreciate that. But whatever. This is a very, very first world problem I'm talking about right now. So I'm not gonna really lament.
Well, this
too
is
much.
a very first world piece of media we're making. So
Hey. And if you're still listening, you're top of the class, first world. You've got time to kill, don't you?
Sure do.
Okay, campers, that's all for today. Patreon.com/campvideogames. We will give you a shout out if you give us money.
Yeah.
Right. We'll do that, right?
Sure. I don't know.
Or not.
Nah, we don't, but we maybe would. I don't know.
Hey, we're done.
I guess those are the rules of Patreon. You have to put people's names and credits. I don't care.
There's rules?
No, there's not really
Oh,
rules.
good.
But that's what everybody does. Anyway.
I just want to get rich.
Yeah, let's just get out of here and go scheme how to get rich and start scamming people with AI.
Hey, Chat GPT, how do I get rich?
Yes.
Okay, goodbye, campers.
If you'd like to write to us, send a message to campvideogames@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram @campvideogames. If you want to become a real happy camper, you can support Camp Video Games on Patreon. For $5 a month, you'll be granted access to even more discussions about movie-based video games, game-based movies, full-length commentaries, playthroughs, and more. Whether you sign up or not, we're glad to have you here at Camp Video Games.